Good evening, folks. You are with I-12 GIA, the voice of experience. This is our first broadcast of 2025. It is January 8th, 2025, a whole brand new year. A lot of stuff going on. We've been parsing information for the last week or so, trying to decide what we're going to talk about. Everybody has notebooks full of shit that we're going to be going over tonight, so we'll get some information out to you, hopefully. Nomad, once again, is not with us. He's kind of under the weather, so please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Hopefully, he'll be back with us soon. So you're going to have myself and Chris and Rennie down there on the bottom, and we're all ready to rock and roll. We're going to start out with a Trump conviction and the lawfare and whatever nonsense the courts in New York are trying to, whatever stupid shit they're doing. So Rennie, why don't you fire us off with that, brother?
So apparently the reason Juan Marchand and Alvin Bragg all had to get this done is once Trump is sentenced on Friday, he's officially a convicted felon. Now, there's going to be no jail time and no punishment. There's going to be a conditional discharge attached to it, which means like the way it usually works is 6 months or a year. If you don't get in trouble, thing goes away. However, the conviction remains. That being said, let's say for the sake of the conversation in 2026, by some slim stretch of the imagination, the Democrats regain control of both houses, the Senate and the House. They could impeach Trump, high crimes and misdemeanors. In the House, send it over to the Senate where he would be tried and convicted and removed from office. So that's why it's so important that the sentencing don't happen on Friday. So that being said, Trump had filed with the appellate court, and the appellate court sided with Juan Marchand. And so Trump has now asked the Supreme Court to step in and put a stop to this bullshit. And so the Supreme Court asked the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, Alvin Bragg, to file a response with them no later than Thursday morning, with Trump's hearing being scheduled for 9:30 on Friday. And so the justices could act anytime after the state's response is filed. And Trump would need the votes of at least 5 justices to postpone his sentencing, which I think he would have. So it looks like the Supreme Court may be an out, but I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket because right now anything is on the table. You just don't know with these people.
Okay, I'm a little confused about this. So I thought there was a provision in there to where you can't, because he will be a sitting president by then, that nothing happens until after his presidency.
He will be the sitting president on the 20th. He's being sentenced this Friday, which is the 10th.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to kind of see what happens with that.
He's not the president. So his only saving grace right now is the Supreme Court intervening.
Okay.
And he needs
these
the vote
fucking
of
people, I just...
Huh?
These fucking people, he needs five super court.
He needs five
Supremes.
5 Supreme Court justices to do away with this, which I think he has, but they're waiting for Bragg's response.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll just kind of have to wait to see what's going to happen.
We're going to have to wait that one out. That's going to be I got no nails left, but that's going to be a nail biter.
Yeah, it's going to be a nail biter.
Well,
Chris, what do you got, buddy?
So even if, all right, so let's say your scenario plays out.
Yeah.
They get the House, they get the Senate in 2026. He picked his nose and used the wrong napkin, high crimes and misdemeanors, right? Which we know they're going to do no matter what. And now he gets convicted of that. So if that's the case and he gets removed from office, does J.D. Vance become the president?
He does.
Okay. Instant pardon, no jail time. Right?
Well,
I mean,
so in effect, all that's going to happen is Trump is going to be removed from office because they never wanted him there to begin with. because Marchand already said he's not getting any jail time. He's getting a conditional discharge. They just want it on his record that he's a convicted felon. So if by chance the Democrats ever retain both houses again, the House of Representatives and the Senate, they have grounds for impeachment, which there's no doubt in my mind they'll go ahead and do it.
But if he gets convicted of high crimes and misdemeanors in the House and the Senate and is discharged from office, does that now enable the New York District Court to go ahead and say, well, you got in trouble again, so here's a sentence. Now you got to do jail time.
No, they couldn't use the impeachment against them. No.
Okay. All right. That was my misunderstanding.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Vance could just, ixnay that. I mean, let's be honest. If they regain even just the House, right, they're gonna impeach him. They're gonna. But there's no way around it. They're gonna do the same play over.
Nothing's gonna happen in the Senate though, because we have a 5-vote majority in the Senate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm saying we have 5-vote majority, but that guy that's in charge, the Senate Majority Leader, Thule or whatever his name is, that's Mitch McConnell's clown, so he could do anything.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, yeah. We already know the song and dance. We already know what he's up against. So
absolutely, yep.
Yeah. So I have a feeling we'll see this again.
Yeah, everybody's so sick of this shit. Let's get on with the people's business and quit fucking around.
They don't want to do it. I got a really sick feeling in the pit of my stomach that it's going to be 4 years of the same Russia bullshit all over again. Nothing's going to get accomplished for 4 years. It's going to be the same shit right from the get-go.
Well, since we're talking about Trump again, let's go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, the first phone call that comes in from Zelensky while he's in the office, they're going to want transcripts. They're going to want everything. And even though we have the House and the Senate, there's still going to be plenty of we have the House and the Senate. There's still going to be plenty of people, even on the Republican side, that are going to bust his balls. Like, I can see this happening.
Yeah,
I can absolutely see it happening. And
oh yeah, definitely.
Cut the funding to Ukraine. Cut it.
They're getting another like $400 million this week. I can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're handing out money like it's candy.
Yeah, well, we're figuring out how to heat our homes, right? And we're worried about our grocery bills. California's burning. We still have hurricane victims that are freezing to death in tents, but we're shipping money over to dancing shoes. I'm sorry. Yep. If you weren't the most corrupt country on the face of the earth, maybe somebody wouldn't have invaded you. And does my heart break? Yes. As a Christian, I don't want to see any loss of life. I don't want to see anybody hurt. The videos I'm seeing coming out of Ukraine are absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be careful for the audience. It's terrible. And my heart breaks for people on both sides. But listen, that the most corrupt country in the world, and then half your citizens want the Russian government, half of them don't. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
Cut the funding. Cut it. Just cut it all off. Let somebody else take that burden. Keep us out of it.
Yep. Agreed 100%.
All right. Since you brought Ukraine up real quick and videos, I watched something today that was seriously disturbing. We're getting off topic here, but that's okay. Apparently, there's the Azov group, I guess, within the Ukrainian military has they have special squads that go out to recover deserters. Okay. So somebody had run up a video today from a drone showing one of the BRTs out chasing people through fields and running over them. And conventional wisdom is saying that the people that were being run over were Ukrainian soldiers that were deserting or trying to flee or something. And they're not even bothering trying to keep them and put them back in the military anymore. They're just killing them. So war crimes at the very least. They thought they might be Russian escapees also, but nobody's sure. But anyway, this video is just run right over the top of like 10 of them.
For the record, the only ones that are charged with war crimes are Jews. All right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No shit.
I'll leave it there. The
Yeah.
ICC,
All right. So
the ICC should have been done away with right after the Nuremberg trials. After that, it's like having tits on a bull. They're useless.
yeah.
Well,
Since you
I
threw
mean,
that, let's go. Go ahead, Chris.
so the Nuremberg trials. Thanks for bringing that up. Right? Isn't that what was supposed to cover us on never have to get medical experiments done on people against their
Yep.
will? Right?
Yep.
And we fucking threw that right out the window. Right?
Yep.
So if we're not even going to pay attention to the Nuremberg trials, then kill the court completely. Get it out of there. Like there's no point.
Yeah, that's pretty much useless.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, apparently 20 of the 251 hostages that were taken on the 7th are still alive, allegedly. I don't think they are. I think they're all gone already. But they're being used as some kind of negotiation by Hamas to
They recovered one
save their
today.
sorry asses, dead or alive.
Dead.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. So 19 out of the 251. That means 230 of them were murdered. Just food for thought, people. All this shit's still there. It's been almost 2 years now.
Well, here's my thing. I think that the Israelis should have handled it differently. Once they had proof beyond a reasonable doubt that all the hostages were deceased, they should have turned that place into a pile of fucking glass, okay? Instead of playing games with them.
Yep.
There's still the opportunity to do it. There's still the opportunity to do it. Good friend of mine that her and I chat all the time. We belong to the same synagogue. One of her dear friends, her best friend, was one of the shooting victims on the bus the other day. She sent me another thing tonight. That same woman had her family several years ago. The guy, Gazan, broke into the house, killed 4 family members. So there's no real use for these people. They're all animals, you know. And what do you do? What happens when you get an animal that's rabid?
Put it down.
Kill them and take the brain out and you study it. Well, that's what needs to happen to these people.
Yeah. Well, there got to be a brain in there to study to begin with. But,
Yeah, there's no. There you go.
Just a quick disclaimer: our podcast is rated MA for mature audiences only, and it is listed as such on our YouTube, where we live stream at. So no kids under the age of 18. So if you hear the occasional fuck or whatever other foul language we happen to come up with, because we're a bunch of pretty passionate guys.
I am trying my best. I am trying my best.
And we are all
Chris
very
will tell you.
So yeah. So just a warning: if you're offended by this, too fucking bad, go somewhere else. Okay, moving right along. Since you guys want to keep on Trump, because we got all kinds of stuff with him, and then we'll get to California later, and then go on to the other thing.
Yeah,
sound
sure.
good? All right, let's talk about the United States of North America, which is what I'm calling Greenland, Canada, the United States of America, and Mexico. What do you guys think about that? Any opinions?
So, President Andrew Johnson wanted to purchase Greenland, I believe. And then Eisenhower wanted to purchase Greenland when they were when they purchased Alaska. So it has nothing to do with economics and everything to do with national security.
Exactly.
That's
Agreed.
Greenland. So don't let the Democrats tell you it's economics, because it's not. It's national security. Because if we got Greenland, we got eyes on the ocean, we got eyes on Russia, we can see what they're doing. Okay? As far as Canada goes, I mean, Canada's a cesspool. Trump wants to make it the 51st state. Well, we got a border problem there too, because that's slowly starting to become the Iran of the North. Okay.
Mhm.
If we're not careful, we're going to have Iran as a neighbor with the amount of Muslims that are flowing in into the country. I watched the video of this Iranian guy that fled Iran, went to Canada. I don't know why he chose Canada. He wanted a good life for himself and his family. He goes, now I feel like I'm back in Tehran. I got to watch myself. I got to look over my back. I got to watch what I say. And I guess Canada's ruled by, Canadians, but they're under the thumb of England too. And England's gone to shit with Muslims,
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Oh yeah. Great Britain's lost. It's
Canada, as far as I'm concerned, is probably a 50-50 split with economics and with national security. They have a lot of land. They have a lot of valuable minerals and stuff like that. So, I can see why he'd be interested in that. Hi, Annie, how you doing?
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. So did wargaming. It all runs. The scenarios always run through Canada.
yeah.
For war games. It's interesting how that works. So yeah, I mean, it'd be a great thing. As far as Mexico goes, well, it's a border. I mean, again, that's locking down our borders. Might as well extend that on down to the Panama Canal from there and pick up some of Central America too.
Panama Canal is a national security interest as well.
It is, and it should have never been given up in the first. Plus, the Chinese
Wasn't
are
it?
just raping everybody.
Wasn't it Jimmy Carter that gave it
was
back to
Jimmy
him for
Carter.
$1?
For $1, yeah.
He's the same. He's a terrorist. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't expect me to be fucking watching and wailing tomorrow. All right.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
So Greenland. So
Greenland.
What do we know as far as the national security stuff? Because like when Trump came out with Space Force, right? I remember everybody was making fun of him, all the talk shows, everything, right? But if you notice, it still got approved, right? So there's some reason they're just not telling us why they let it happen. You can make fun of the guy all you want, but you still cast a vote saying that was the right thing to do. So when we look at Greenland, yes, I agree, it's not economics either. National security. What value is that? Now, if I'm not mistaken, isn't Greenland where a lot of the seed vaults are?
So
right?
Yes. So absolutely. So Greenland is under the auspices of Denmark. Okay. But from the perspective of the Arctic, Greenland is our eyes on everything that's going on, including in the northern sea route, which is controlled by the Russians. And in addition to that, Greenland has many resources, not just hydrocarbons, but also rare earth minerals and uranium. And we're thinking about green energy transition across rare earth minerals in particular for any nation is very important. But like you said, they also have that. Is that seed vault in Greenland or Antarctica?
Greenland.
Okay, so we get the seed vault in Greenland.
Yeah, yeah. There's also, if I'm not mistaken, there are a few underground, like in mountain bases that are there too. I don't know much about it. I just know that there's some things that are there.
Samuel Adams says the Arctic shipping lanes are key, just like the Panama Canal. That's true. The Democrats are trying to tell you the Panama Canal is associated with trade rather than geopolitics, where the Panama Canal is a short route between New York and Shanghai. But that's bullshit. Panama Canal is all about national security, okay? If that route is affected by a drought, let's say, because every ship that goes through the canal uses up about 50 million gallons of water, there's an issue there. But that being said, Carter, the
Reboot. Take a deep breath.
reboot. Hang on a second. I'm trying to get to it. The terrorist that's being buried tomorrow sold that back to whoever for a fucking $1. That's why we're in the shit that we're in today.
Yeah, to China.
So Samuel Adams is right on that, on everything.
Yep. So all right. So Greenland, right? So they're this is again, this is with Trump popping this up. I don't know if you guys saw, but Don Jr., Charlie Kirk, they flew over there in Trump Force One. They were out there, and of course, Denmark, of course, had their words of wisdom, and so there are some people that are not too happy about that. Canada, as far as Canada goes, man, I'm sorry, but there are a ton of Democrats up there. You get what you vote for. And I think that, if, I doubt it would happen, but if we were to look at that as a 51st state, I think we would go ahead and probably hand over the House and the Senate for the foreseeable future. Keep in mind, Canadians have allowed their government to become like that. And, a key speech that Mrs. Trudeau had said that I won't forget when this alleged leader was talking to the people, said, remember, Canadians, this isn't the United States. You do not have a right to defend yourself. End quote. And the people were fine with that. So, you get what you vote for, and you get what you support. And I think that if that were to happen, the Democrat Party would pick up a few more seats. So yes, it's got land, it's got resources, it's got a lot of undeveloped land, and in the words of Trey Parker and Matt Stone from South Park, it's not a real country, anyways. I don't think it would be really of any use to us. I know there are some really good folks up there. I know some really good people that live there, some fantastic people, some patriots. But, it's kind of, they're very outnumbered. And I keep hearing people here say in the medical field, or look at the Canadian health system, it's terrible. If you're having a heart attack, you're waiting 45 minutes to an hour from an ambulance that's coming from 110 miles away. There's a lot of cancer patients that have dual citizenship that have to come down here to get treatment. Canada's falling apart. Is that really something we want to take on? And as far as Mexico goes, well, buckle up, boys. That's going to be a fight.
Oh, Canada's get socialized. Now, if they wanted to take Canada and do like they did with the Virgin Islands and American Samoa, give them a seat in Congress, but they can't vote on anything. I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah, but of course their reps don't understand what the rules are and still throw a hissy fit. So
Yeah.
No, she thought she'd try to get the rules changed. Come on.
Yeah.
But that's the way around that, though, and that's what's already being suggested for all three of those places. Just make them territories because they have the representation, but they don't have a vote. So that's pretty easy to get.
Canada is too liberal. It would skew the vote. Yes, you're right, Amanda. You're 100% right. But we would need to. That's why we'd need to make it like the Virgin Islands and American Samoa, where
yes,
you can have a representative, but they have no voice, no vote.
Well, in Puerto Rico too, same thing.
Puerto Rico, yeah. Oh, they have a governor. Yeah.
Right. Somebody needs to remind the new president of Mexico about the Spanish-American War or the Mexican-American War. I think it was 1748 to 1740. It was 2 years. What 17? I don't remember the dates. Or no, whatever it was, 1848. Sorry, I had a brain fart. Anyway, they got their asses handed to them, and in their most deceitful way, they brought Santa Anna back from exile in Cuba, and Democrats let that happen, and then he attacked the United States. But anyway, somebody needs a reminder that didn't work out so well for him last time, and those that don't learn from history are bound to repeat it.
Amen.
So that's we'll have to see what happens with that story.
Yeah, not too smart, especially since President Trump already gave the wink to the tier 1 operators. Like, hey, just so you know, you're going to start work on the 20th. I have something planned for you. He was saying that to our good Navy SEALs, our Green Berets, our Delta Force, and our Rangers. And, the days of the cartel firing 50 cals over the border are over. So she better fall in line. She better fall in line, or else there's going to be a different colored flag there.
Training missions to.
Unfortunately, some people learn the hard way.
Well, that's okay as long as they learn.
Yeah.
All right. Some other information came across the desk today that is, as of now, is unconfirmed, but it is related to all of this. So we'll just go ahead and put it out there. But it is from a variety of sources. We were discussing earlier about all the drones and crap that just suddenly disappeared. And there was some really good information about a guy that, or from a guy that he builds the things. He has worldwide companies. He's met with head of states concerning just drones. He's been into 80 different countries, I guess, working with these things. So he knows what he's talking about. And he said there's a lot more to this drone story. And what that's happening now is that he was contacted by an undisclosed, at this time, Eastern European who says that he has seen nuclear devices that can be attached to these drones, which kind of makes sense, okay, with everything that's going on with Ukraine. They've become masters at this. And he is saying that there is going to be an attack of some kind here in the U.S. utilizing drones and some type of nuclear device, either on the 9th, which is tomorrow, Jimmy Carter's funeral, by the way, the 19th or the 20th, and they're going to be going after President-elect Trump. I don't know, fellas, let's just wait and see what happens, but that's what's floating around out there.
So to piggyback on that, there was a woman who she was an author, and she had written a book. She was on the Sean Ryan show a while back. She had written a book talking about nuclear war, and
Right.
And she had interviewed an admiral, and he had said that there were, Chinese nuclear subs, Russian nuclear subs off our coast, so close to that it cuts the time down in half for deployed nuclear weapons, right? So if flight time would be 24 minutes, subs off the East Coast, you cut it down to 10 minutes, the early warning goes out the window.
Yeah.
So with that, if you've noticed with the drones, we don't even respond to them. Right. So, okay, you take the ballistic missile out of it that has, 10, Titan 3 warheads, whatever they are. Right. As soon as somebody fires one of them, boomsticks off, we know about it. There's your mutually assured destruction. But if you take one of those warheads, put it onto a drone, launch it, nobody's even going to call 911 because they, there's lights up there. Yeah, don't shoot at it. It's a medical helicopter. Nobody knows the difference. Right. You park the warhead over where you want, deployed. You don't even know who sent it, right? So how can you fire?
Right.
I think it's a very, very dangerous situation, and it's something that I would hope our intelligence agencies were already, if they're not going after grandmas for January 6th, maybe they could take a look at this.
Yeah. One would think. I have her book around here. So I know who you're talking about. We did a review and interview with her and a bunch of other stuff about that very topic. But that was a while ago. It was last year sometime. But I forgot what her name is. But yeah, 90 seconds to disaster, I think is what it's called.
So
like that.
I just got a text that came through my phone from Newsweek. The Defense Department has just come out with a statement saying that they have a list of 134, that's 134, Chinese military companies, 57 firms and 77 subsidiaries operating directly or indirectly inside the United States.
Imagine that.
So what does that tell you?
That we're infiltrated to the very core of our existence.
Yep. Trojan horse at its finest.
Defense officials said the expanded list serves to help the U.S. counter Beijing's military-civilian fusion strategy, MCF, described by the State Department. Here we go. I work for the State Department, right? Spy fucking agency. When they tell you to give out passports, don't fucking believe them. As an aggressive national strategy using technological advances to develop the People's Liberation Army into a world-class military by 2049. And Chet, we've had this discussion before. That is the 100-year marathon the 2049 is a deadline by which Chinese or China wants to be the world superpower. They want to run the whole world.
Yep.
So Pentagon just came out with that statement today. Imagine
Yep.
that.
Well, makes sense to me. That's why we need a new president more than ever. All right, fellas, it's about time for a 5-minute break. Sound like a plan? Then we
Sounds
will
good to
come
me.
back and continue our conversation here. So let me hit the little button here, and if I can get all this crap to work, there we go. And we will be back in just a moment. Okay, folks, you are back with I-12 Global Intelligence Analyst, the voice of experience. You have Chris on the top, Rennie, and myself, Fogg, down here on the bottom. So we're going to continue our discussion this evening for our first podcast of 2025. You fellows want to jump into the California fires next?
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris. Start it off, brother.
Yep, you first.
Well, that kind of snuck up on us, huh? Within hours, this fire was completely out of control. And during the break, I just checked, Breitbart is reporting, as of 51 minutes ago, the blaze is 0% contained. If this wasn't a complete and utter mismanagement, to say that is an understatement. I don't know any other way to really explain it. And of course, our current commander in chief, Weekend at Bernie's, when they landed there, closed off the airspace completely, cutting off air support for our men and women fighting the fire on the ground, which they would later go to run out of water. So, and for those folks that are watching or listening and don't know, anytime the president is heading somewhere, there is a TFAR that's set up, a restricted airspace. Even if you have, firefighting, medical rescue, anything like that, it's a restricted airspace. And even civilian pilots that are flying Cessnas and Pipers quickly learn up close and personal what an F-16 looks like if they violate that. So I'm sorry, the president should have diverted. He clearly can't get any ice cream there, so go somewhere else. Let the fire department do what they need to do, and get their air support back. But I mean, look, you have DEI hires. Look at the fire chief. We shouldn't, again. If I'm talking about sex, don't hire me based off of that. We should not be looking into these folks based off of their sexual preference. We should go based off experience and their expertise. And this fire chief has stated numerous times that she wants, what is it? Diversity and inclusion. Okay. The biggest problem is there's only 115 women on the fire department. No, ma'am, that is not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is you have no water to fight fires. That's what the problem is. Everybody is so green there, they don't want to touch the grounds of the woods. You have to clean up this fuel that's on the ground. Gordon Graham, a fantastic risk analyst, is a member of the California Highway Patrol for 25 years. I've seen his classes. He has a fantastic lecture. He'll tell you high risk, low frequency. You have fires out there all the time. So how do you mitigate it? Look through all the things that are causing it. It's high risk. It's high frequency. And I'm sorry, Los Angeles is burning as we speak with zero containment, no water, people dying, people trapped. And I'm sure you're seeing the videos of people literally in their house. I have no idea how they survived. Fire fully engulfed, roaring around the house, and people going, well, maybe we should leave. You should have left 3 hours ago. Wildland fire is so unpredictable, it can overtake you in a matter of minutes. Something that seems like it's miles away would be on your doorstep in 60 seconds. Who's ever out there listening, get out of the way. Get out of the way. And this is terrible.
You've got the level of mismanagement on this is ridiculous. The reason that Joe Biden was there to begin with in LA. Apparently, Hunter needed a ride home from the Jimmy Carter celebration thing of end of life wake bullshit. So they thought, well, fuck, we're already in Air Force One. We'll just go ahead and fly it out there and drop the kid off on the way.
All right, sober driver. I get it.
Yeah, at $172,000 an hour for Air Force One. So like you said, once they got there, they got stuck because the Santa Ana winds are in. They couldn't get back out of LA. So on top of all that, you have the mayor of Los Angeles, which is in Ghana in Africa for a presidential inauguration. What the fuck? that was the same mayor that just, I think she cut like $17 million in the fire department budget.
Yeah.
The same group of idiots that one of the reasons that they are so shorthanded with experienced firefighters is because they got rid of all of them because they refused to accept a COVID shot and all that bullshit, and they were never replaced. The level of mismanagement there is it's just evil. As you said, you got to clear the underbrush. It would help mitigate a lot of these things. They had a problem with the insurance companies. I guess a lot of them wanted to raise their rates, and Gavin Newsom said, "No, you guys can't do that." So the insurance companies just said, "Fuck you, we're just going to leave." That's kind of I kind of get it. I mean, it is a problem for them. It's got to be some kind of a balance there. No water, because it's more important to provide runoff from the mountain, the snow in the mountains, and not fill the reservoirs because it upsets a desert smelt fish or some such bullshit that's off the coast out there somewhere. I feel bad for the people in California. I really do. But as you said earlier, Rennie, they voted for this shit, man.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate. Yeah. Ted Nightshade 13. Yeah. Do you think it's more important that butch lesbians are represented? Yeah. Yes, that's 50% of the problem. But let me play the devil's advocate for a second. I don't know anything about fires. Just what I've read, I think you need water to put a fire out, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, that being said, let me say this. Gavin Newsom should be depanted, handcuffed, and taken before a fucking tribunal.
Yeah.
I watched that. You gave the talk, right?
Yes, I gave the
I watched that cocksucker on TV tonight. Okay, taking down dams so the water can't flow into reservoirs, so salmon can swim up fucking stream and spawn. Are you fucking kidding me? That's more important. Now, playing the devil's advocate, I'm going to go the other route of you two guys. People are probably not going to like it. And you're probably going to get pissed off, but better be pissed off than pissed on. But let me just say this. I don't feel bad for him. And I'll tell you why. Put a GoPro camera on every one of those cocksuckers on fucking election day when they go into the fucking voting booth and watch where they put their ex next to fucking Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So there you have it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. He did survive a recall and all kinds of other shit. So it's going to be interesting to see the reaction when all this is over with, though, because the California elites are literally being burned out of their houses. It's not some area out in the desert. It's not some unincorporated town in the middle of nowhere. This is Malibu. This is Palisades Park, whatever that whole part of where all the big money is. So we're gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, what do you guys think of is there any correlation between the fires in Hawaii a couple of years ago and this?
I don't know. We here we are. We still don't know anything about the fires in Hawaii, which again, it's mind blowing. I have to sit here and say, with how fast that fire moved yesterday and how fast it's moving now. I know you got the Santa Ana winds that are in there, and the wind gusts up to 99 miles an hour. But I would love to have my conspiracy hat on. I just don't have enough info to answer that. But I do think that there was so much mismanagement and it's happening now. I don't know if you guys saw this, but is it KLAX there, the news station, was interviewing Steve Guttenberg and had no idea who he was. He was only in every fucking 80s movie ever and had no idea. I thought that was interesting. But you're right.
We interviewed James Woods tonight too. He was almost in tears.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was on CNN. He lost. Yeah, there
Mhm.
was some video he had released last
Mhm.
night. I don't know if he had caretakers at his other house. And then yeah,
So his cameras, every
but-
time his fire alarm went off, his camera would activate.
mhm.
Yeah.
Mike Rowe was reporting that he had flew in there to film a show, and he went to this hotel that his friend manages. And while he was in there, there was a woman who she was watching her house burn on her Ring cameras, and her dogs were there.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And then firefighters were getting recalled while they were in the restaurant. And when he got there, they were at 50% capacity, and within just a couple hours, they were over capacity. So.
Mhm.
This comes into the whole you got to be prepared. A lot of these folks you see in the videos of them driving with the fire raging over their vehicle. I mean, you got to get out beforehand. You have to get out. Preparedness, know your surroundings. It's very, very dangerous.
Yeah. 10 Nightshade said, have you guys seen the video of the supposed energy weapons being used during these fires? Yeah, we've done a whole segment on them.
Mhm.
Those are very real. Yeah, that's a very real possibility too.
With the blue roofs, the houses
Yeah,
with the blue roofs.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's an interesting point though, because fire is a terrorist weapon. And is
Well,
used
that's the new
extensively in
weapon of
Israel.
choice: fire and cars.
And cars, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Maybe because there are 5 fires in a row or something like that. And I know they are being investigated as arson, but
If it was any other state, I'd say yeah, but California's got no redeeming qualities that I can see that would be worth attacking. What, displacing a bunch of multimillionaires? Is
Well,
really good.
we've ruled out China. I mean,
yeah.
Look, Xi Jinping visited the city. He's friends with Gavin. I mean, it's okay. So the Chinese aren't going to attack it. So must be somebody else, or they did a really good job at persecuting smokers, right? So can't be a rogue cigarette, So, but in all honesty, all kidding aside, there's a lot of people there. I'm praying to God. That they are protected. And unfortunately, some of them just got notified 24 to 48 hours ago that they had no fire insurance, and then bang, this hits.
Yeah.
So that's a little suspicious too. But the leadership and the politicians in California really set their residents up for this. They really did. And that's a shame.
Oh, look at Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I can go on and name names,
Yep.
George
Pretty much all of
Gaston,
Did you guys see Adam Carolla when they played the video of Adam Carolla talking about his white privilege and how it took him 7 years,
7 years
just to get a test for LA Fire Department. 7 years. And then the woman in the line that was a minority next to him, he asked when she applied for it, and it was the previous Wednesday. This happens in Massachusetts as well.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. If you're not the right color, you don't speak the right language. I know veterans that were supposed to go to the top of the list that couldn't get on. All for what? So we can check a box and then what? Listen, best person for the job. If there's a woman that can lift more than me, fine, put her in. Get a set of turnout gear, go ahead. Pull those kids off the 3rd floor. Absolutely. It doesn't matter as long as they do the job, and they can do the job. But the more we keep doing this DEI, the more and more it's going to cost people their lives. It's just the way it is.
This is another thing that we can, now that you got me going on it, this is another thing you can thank the Democrats for. They called it the Castro decree. Started way back in the 70s. If you wanted to hire firefighters, you had to hire 2 minorities for every white guy. City of Lawrence now, you don't get hired for police or fire unless you're Spanish. My nephew, your cousin, was number 1 on the sergeant's list. Never got it because he wasn't Hispanic. All right.
Perfect example with that same city.
Yeah.
I remember growing up in that city, right? mixed culture. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now you drive down there, you hit a certain block on South Broadway. None of the signs are in English.
No.
None whatsoever.
No.
So, you know, I mean, where's the inclusion of everybody around them? You know, it's just not there.
It's their way of the highway.
Right. And you know, if they should really put their money where their mouth is, if they truly believed in DEI, why don't we have that program for pilots? Let's have DEI pilots. Why not?
Oh yeah.
We'll start with Southwest.
Yeah.
You want to watch air traffic come to a screeching halt? Nobody's going to want to do it. Where's the DEI for air traffic controllers? You know, I mean, come on now. So,
yeah,
good
well, we
point.
got to see how that plays out.
Very good point.
Along those same lines, have you guys noticed a return to? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago that there's a worldwide return to conservatism. Though, with few, as far as it's starting to work its way through Europe now, with the exception of the UK, because it's too late for them; they're done. But you're going to see a return to conservatism, I think, worldwide.
I've noticed. Yes, I've been noticing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're also seeing a return to you know, Christianity. We're seeing a return to God. You know, it's okay for, you know, Jews and Christians to talk about God now versus, you know, before it wasn't. You know, the synagogues are still being attacked. And look up in Canada, you know, how many Catholic churches were burned down?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
So you're seeing this resurgence, and I'll tell you, there's stories of people in I believe it's Syria that were having these dreams of Jesus, and then the next day meeting people in the market that had the same dream. There's just this thing coming back, and it's God making his presence known, you know. And not to throw shade at Los Angeles, but let's go back to just a few nights ago, the Golden Globes. You know, Nikki Glaser, who said this is a godless city. Not one person, thank God, right? Well,
that's
God's great.
Hey, you know, like we said earlier, those who don't learn from history are bound to repeat it. You know, it's just
Absolutely
as simple as that. So, all right,
Great.
fellas.
I got breaking news real quick. Blinken
Okay.
ceasefire agreement will be handed over to Trump if not completed before inauguration. There ain't going to be any ceasefire because Trump said if all the hostages aren't released by the time he gets sworn in, they'll be all fucking hell to pay.
Yes. Yeah. Give the Israelis what they need. You know, and again, not to promote war or violence, but I'm sorry. How many times have they been attacked over and over and over? How many times have we heard the rhetoric from all the countries around them over and over? Look, I don't know if it's still going on, but before we went on the air, there was a protest in New York, right? Hamas jihadists outside of a hospital where there are thousands of Jewish doctors in there calling for the elimination of the Jews.
Where did you see that? I didn't get anything on that.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you after the show. I'll send it to you. So you
I'd like to send it to my friend. I'd like to send it to my friend Liz.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue on with our final topic tonight, and then we're going to jump into some I-12 GIA business after that about what's going to happen in the future of the next year. So we had a video come in to us we were asked to play tonight, so we're going to try to do that.
Yeah, and I want people to pay attention to what this female deputy sheriff says, because this is what I-12. This is what we've been trying to preach to people for a year. All of a sudden, New Year's Eve, the terrorist attack in New Orleans. She's on TV. Listen to her words very carefully.
All right, let's
get it, Maestro.
See if we can get this to work.
He goes to New Orleans in a rented vehicle, and the attack happens on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. There's a lot of cities between Houston and New Orleans. Why not pick someplace else? Why does the guy rent a car in Colorado and drive it to Las Vegas? You wonder, what is the target? What is the goal?
Exactly, and you said it correct. There are so many other cities when you think of, the September 11th bomb or terrorist attack was at the World Trade Center because it would send a message. These things are happening in front of Trump Tower with an Elon Musk vehicle to send a message, whether it's
I don't think it's
directly
playing.
to what happened in
Yeah, it
New
is.
Orleans, or
Yeah,
to
it's
a
playing.
message for the
Okay.
American public that we are here, the fight is here, it is time to be prepared. And, you know, as Aaron said, we need to be proactive and not reactive. It is time for the American public to understand that you may have to be your own first responder. Start having range days, be familiar with a weapon if you want to have a concealed carry permit. Understand how to use a tourniquet if, God forbid, you have to use it on yourself or your friends or family. We need to start being proactive to these things and understanding that we may not have time for 911. We have to be our own first responder.
Yeah, the New Orleans Police Department Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick was talking about, you know, the terrorists defeating the system, and here's specifically how she put it.
Did you hear what she said?
Yep. Let's close that out real quick. Yeah.
You got to, so
What,
be prepared. Okay. Know your surroundings, right? Be your own first responder. If you're going to have a firearm, know how to use it. Have a range day. Learn how to put on the tourniquet so you can put one on yourself or a family member. Okay? Because there's going to be no help coming for you. You're on your own.
Mhm.
And
What
she said New Year's Eve what we've been preaching for a year.
right.
Mhm.
What do we always say? Be prepared to self-rescue because ain't nobody coming for you.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we, as here at I-12 GIA, that's one of the things that we do for this is we get the information out there to you folks that's hopefully beneficial and that you can use in your daily life. Plus, we do a bunch of training stuff too. So, Rennie, would you mind discussing that
So,
and letting everybody know?
along that line, so we're retooled. My lovely daughter-in-law, Amanda, Chris's wife, is redesigning our website. Our new email address is running at the bottom. She's redesigning our website. And it's going to have, we're going to be offering a lot of the products that this woman talked about. First aid supplies, classes on how to use firearms, certifying people in CPR, AED, stop the bleed, putting tourniquets on. We've been doing all that. We've written children's books on how to keep kids safe. We're going to be selling the body armor, the backpacks, and everything else. So that's where we're headed. You know, the website is in the process of being designed now. Hopefully, it'll be up and running before not too long. We got our new email up there. So if you feel you want to ask us anything or get anything or be pointed in the right direction, you want some training, hit that email right at the bottom of the screen and we'll get back to you. All right. That's where we're headed. I've been in touch with an AI company. We're going to make training videos that are going to come with a subscription. So we're going to give you the tools that you need to take care of yourself. Whether or not you want to grab them and use them is all up to you.
Yep, there you have it.
Amen.
So the email it's contact@i12gia.net is what you want to get a hold of. That's our email, our new email address.
Yeah.
Let's see, where do we want to go from here? My mind
Training,
is completely
training,
blanked out.
right? That's
training.
preparedness. And a lot of times, you know, when we have these discussions, you know, it doesn't have to be worst case scenario. I know with a lot of my EMS training was, you know, you go through, and I know you guys all went through it too. You go through the stations, and they always gave you, oh well, the nun that fell out of a helicopter is now in traumatic arrest. Okay, great, but it's not always that, right? So think ahead. Up here in the Northeast right now, it is ridiculously cold. If you're traveling with your family, you know, your wife, your husband, you know, 2-3 kids, it probably helps to have some blankets in the trunk. It probably helps to have some extra set of clothes, some drinking water. Vehicles break down, and I travel the highway a lot, and I see a lot of people stranded on the side of the road. And another one of my jobs was picking those folks up. So, you know, be prepared. You know, anytime I leave in my car, if I have my kids with me, you know, even myself, I make sure I have a bag that's ready to go. Be ready to self-rescue. If you know, fire, something happens on the highway, an accident, a storm. I mean, look what happened in Kansas. Look what happened in Texas. Look at all of those pileups. You know, people stuck on the side of the road, you know, 12, 24 hours, you know, and then the accident happens and you really need a tourniquet. I have a bag right in here, ready to go, right? I have 2 first aid kits in the back. Get the training for it. Watch the videos. Reach out to us. We'll tell you how to use the stuff.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And think of your environment.
We'll
you know,
even sell. We'll even sell you the stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll do that too.
we'll get it to you. But just everyday stuff, EDC, everyday carry. Doesn't have to pertain just to firearms, but water, blankets. Ask my wife, she'll tell you. As we're leaving, I've got the go bags in the car.
Yeah.
They help. They will save somebody, right? And God forbid you are ever stuck in that scenario that it's you or your family member. You'll be grateful that you have that. Even if you're helping a bystander, just a few minutes to think ahead could save somebody's life. That's priceless.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
All right, fellas, we're kind of coming up against our end of our time with you this evening. Chris, if you want to, go ahead and say your goodbyes, and we'll run through everybody and call it a night.
Thank you very much. It's great to talk to you guys. It's great to be out here. It's great to interact with the folks. Don't forget the email down at the bottom. Prayers for Nomad. I miss you, brother. Hope to talk to you soon. I got to pick your brain about a lot of stuff. Just be prepared. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Stay safe.
There you go. Rennie?
I want to thank you. I want to thank my brothers, Chris and Chet. No, man, I'm praying for you as well, brother. Amanda said she's not to leave the house. Not to leave the house without a year's worth of rations and a sleeping bag. I-12 GIA, we're here for you. Peace of mind training. We get the materials and the stuff to keep you safe. You got to reach out and ask us for it. We'll be more than willing to provide it to you and show you how to use it so you have it. So you don't ever find yourself with your back to the wall like many of us have before.
Well, not the truth. Okay, we are streaming live on YouTube at this point. You guys know how to do that. If you like the content that we're providing, please click the little like button and the subscribe button. We are going to be setting up an individual tailored subscription service pretty soon. It's going to be a few bucks a month, and we'll get more in depth in some of the stuff that we do. So that'll become something coming in the future. On that happy note, we're going to go ahead and close this out for the evening. We love spending time with you folks. Keep the ones that you love close and give them a big hug for us. And as always, be prepared to self-rescue. So good night, folks.
Peace.